Hello and welcome to the Sheer Luck Show. I'm Louise Rowe and we've got a really fab show for you today. I can guarantee inspirational chat from the sofa, plus we spend the day with the queen of manifesting, Roxie Nafousi. But first, let me introduce our wonderful guests. I'm joined by founder of Stack World and author Sharmadean Reid, MBE, founder of Emerge London, podcast host and author Emily Austin, and founder of UWA and podcast host and IGOG, Patricia Bright. What a lineup, guys! I'm feeling some great inspo coming off this sofa already. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We've had our coffee.
Just about.
Okay, so we've got 2 books coming out soon amongst you.
Yeah.
We are going to get into it straight away. Which qualities, I'll start with you, Patricia, do you feel you have that make you successful, and part B of the question, qualities in other women that you think make them successful or that you might want to soak in a bit of?
I mean, thank you for saying that, actually. I feel like I'm successful right now at this point in time. I think it's sticking ability. I will do stuff and keep going at it even if I feel uncomfortable. And that's actually a quality I usually see in women that I am inspired by. They seem to have this ability to keep doing stuff and pushing through that feeling of awkwardness or not knowing or not being sure. They just keep going. And it's like, you know, the concept, fake it till you make it. There's a lot of doing that, faking it and trying. And I think that's worked for me in my entire career, because a lot of the time I have no clue. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how I'm doing it. But I just keep trying until I work it out at some point in time or someone helps me.
Love that. Very honest. Emily?
I think curiosity, definitely. I think being interested in lots of different things that aren't just limited to the sector that you're in or the job that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I think probably similarly tenacity, particularly in other women. I think also what I would say is something I've experienced in my career with other women is, and something I admire, is women who have an abundant mindset. So generosity, and, you know, whether that's just giving advice or making space or kind of congratulating other women on their success, even if they don't feel particularly successful in that moment. I think that's something I really admire, because it can be quite challenging, I think, when you're struggling and trying to make something happen, to be around people who are further along on their journey.
That is so interesting.
Great.
No, I was just thinking about something someone said to me recently, and they have an incredibly successful company. We're talking over 100 million a year, right? Mega, in my opinion. And they were sort of laughing at the fact that they were almost a bit jealous of another friend who's got more of a startup, and they were rolling up the sleeves, doing a pop-up, and the parents were involved, and this person was like, you know, I miss that. And yes, okay, I've got all this, but like that's a first for them, and they've got so many firsts to come, and there's an excitement of the journey. As cheesy as that sounds, I'm learning that, because if you only focus on the big goal at the end, well, okay, you might hit it, but it might not give you that buzz, or then you'll have another goal. Whereas, like you're saying about that generosity of spirit, it's karma, babe, isn't it? What have you got?
I think for me, it's the ability to bring people on board. I think I'm really good at writing founding documents and vision setting and saying, here is the way I want the world to be different, and you might not ever even thought that you wanted it before I made it, but you really do, and this is why. So I think comms is a big part of my success, and the way that I tell the story about the business and brand I'm building. I think that's what makes anything that I've done in the past have a lasting impact, because it's imbued with a sense of purpose. I think the quality I see in other women who are successful is a diversification of wealth. So, you know, when you're a young founder, you put all your eggs in one basket, you put all your money in your one company, and you shoulder a lot of personal and professional risk. And the smart women I see have lots of little different things going on, so that there's no anxiety over, if this one thing fails, then I've got nothing to fall back on, because that gives you an abundant and a confident mindset, you know, because you don't feel that your identity and your success is tied to a single thing.
Okay, so talking about the multitasking, which I think is a slightly overused phrase. Apparently your brain can't actually physically multitask. So I read that recently, and because I always thought, women, we can do it. But the minute you switch from this to this, your brain has to completely stop and start again, and it's really tiring.
Yeah.
So it is better to sort of finish one thing. Side note. So how do we balance it all? Can we? Do you guys have any kind of pragmatic tips for family, friend, God forbid a social life, businesses?
So my job is linked to socialising, and I've got a lot of friends that I work with, so it's been relatively easy, I think, to manage that. I would also say that one of the things I've written about in the book is creating your own definitions for things. So for me, my definition of that work-life balance is not that I have to have a sort of historic version of equilibrium. So for me, it's not about having 25% friends, 25% family, 25% work, whatever. It's like my work takes up 70%, and that's a priority at periods of time, and then the other stuff has to adjust to fit into that. So I think we're told that everything has to be equally balanced, but actually it just sort of all has to add up to 100. So I think that's definitely been something. I also don't have children yet, so I don't have to manage that side of life. I'm sure that's going to be a roller coaster, but not yet. What about you? How do you manage it?
I was just going to tell us about the book.
Oh, tell you about the book?
Yeah.
Great. So I've written a book. It's called Smarter, 10 Lessons for a More Productive and Less Stressed Life. It is a book aimed predominantly at women. It's an amalgamation of everything I've learned in the last 15 years working with brilliant founders, CEOs, captains of industry. And I found in my experience of trying to self-educate about my job and business more broadly, that a lot of the books that I loved were written by men. So it was the Malcolm Gladwell, Ben Horowitz, James Clear, Seth Godin, and there were very few practical, strategic business books for women. A lot of the business books I encountered were a bit more soft business, I would say. And so I wanted to create something that was practical and challenging and was for the ambitious woman who is looking to do more rather than reduce things in her life in order to be able to do it all.
What's some of the hacks? What are some of the lessons?
Some of the lessons. So there's 10 chapters. They all begin with the letter M.
Oh, yeah.
So, for example, there's a chapter called Minutes. So I run my day in minutes. So an 8-hour day is 480 minutes. Makes you a lot more productive, because if you have an hour meeting in and the meeting finishes after 45 minutes, most people will just waste that 15 minutes because they've programmed themselves to consider
I wouldn't
it's an
even
hour.
schedule an hour meeting.
Well,
If something needs to be an hour, that's mad.
okay, but you can skip over that chapter in the book. I'll put a post-it in it.
Do you know, one of the best things I did was make meetings 25 minutes.
Well,
because if you do a 25-minute meeting, it forces people to prepare and not waste your time.
And also most people have a concentration span of about 25 minutes.
And it's like, I think the problem with productivity is people not adhering to preparation. So they do, I have this thing, Guide to Working With Me. You've seen my guide.
Yeah.
So I write a user manual.
You sent it to me when we worked together years ago.
I send it to anyone I work with. If we're going to work together, this is how I like to work. And it has everything from what motivates me, how I'm most productive, even the fact that, I've got low iron, so I'm going to eat at 12 o'clock because otherwise my blood sugar and my iron levels are just dipping. And then I say to people, if we're having a meeting, you need to tell me what hat you want me to wear. Is it a creative hat? Is it a feedback hat? Is it a check-in hat? And I also need you to be prepared, because otherwise you're just wasting my time.
Well, I think that also breeds a lot of autonomy, right? Because and accountability, because people have to dictate.
Do the work.
Yeah.
But
I remember
they're expecting me to do their work, and I'm like, you do the work, and then we will discuss it. And I want to be more like a coach than a dictator.
Have people ever not responded well to that? Because I remember when I received that doc.
Yeah, what did you think?
Well, I thought it was so interesting because I've worked with people who've done personality tests before we've worked together, people who've, not really done anything and sort of said, this is who I am, get on with it, and people who really bend and try and, work for all the different nuances of their team. And it seemed like such a simple clarification of how you wanted people to interact with you. And I was surprised almost that I'd never sort of seen that before, but it made a lot of sense.
It's one of the essays in my book, gives you all the questions you should ask yourself. And the reason it's important is because when there's friction, in today's environment, we come across, especially if you live in a city, hundreds of people every single day, from the checkout person at your coffee shop to your boss or your, assistant. And you have to mold your personality constantly with, telepathically. You're meant to automatically know how this person is going to be the most productive or how you're going to be the most productive. And I just think having a user manual shortcuts that process. Mm-hmm. And when you're running a startup, you have to all start working so fast together that you don't have time to build the long-term relationship discovery questions, almost like dating.
I was just about to ask,
do you know what I mean?
Are you going to make one for dating?
Yeah.
Dating
well,
apps?
I actually started doing one, like a guide to dating me.
Wow.
Wait, that you would share with people before a date?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
How will you get into flow or serendipity, a moment that you don't expect?
Well, I think that does happen, flow and serendipity, but I also think that I like to be as efficient as possible to get the best out of people. Mm-hmm. So the intention is not to be like, this is how I work and you have to work like this with me. It's more like, I want to get the best out of you, you want to get the best out of me. Here's the way to do it. Otherwise we're going to have so much tension. So with my team, when I had a big team, whenever there was anything off balance with a team member, before I called a review or a meeting about it, I would read their guide and I would be like, oh, I know why they are not contributing to the 9:30 a.m. meeting. It's because they're night owls and they like to work late. Therefore, this meeting is not at the best time
For them.
And it's a case of trying to play Jenga with everyone's personalities and figuring out, where can I pander to somebody's personal needs to get the best out of them, and where do I have to ignore it for the sake of the whole group?
Yeah.
It's a constant balancing act.
I'm going to just
brilliant.
message my editor and just get them to tweet that chapter then.
It's already mine, babes.
Thanks,
It's already
guys.
mine.
All right.
Me method 24, write a guide to working with me.
So, thanks so much, guys. All right, this is just so good for the soul, right? Let's take a look at another powerhouse female entrepreneur. We spent the day with Roxie Nafousi, author of 3 Sunday Times bestsellers, plus manifesting expert and self-development coach. She shares what drives her and how she got to where she is. It's a fascinating watch.
So you've touched Harry Styles.
Yes.
This is a big claim. This is a big claim to fame. I love that.
One of those shows that you're Googling at the same time.
Yeah.
Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult.
It is a fake tan brand for darker skin tones, which I think is such a good idea.
Yeah, that's an amazing idea.
She's lived so many lives, that woman. She was a dominatrix.
She was in
a lot of
Juvie as a kid.
OMG Fashion, a reality series with Julia Fox, my lady of the hour.
Hi Sheerlux, it's Roxie Nafousi. Come spend the day with me. Okay, so we've just got to the office. The girls usually give me a kind of update as soon as I come in, everything that needs to be done, everything that's outstanding, and then we get going. Hopefully it's going to be a nice, abundant day.
7 Steps was born in January 2020, and then it was 2 years later that the book came out, and now 2 years on it's obviously a world of its own. The first book had only been out 4 months when I decided to write the second, so it had done really well, but I think it hadn't even done as well as it was going to. But I felt like, oh my God, I've just got so much more to say, and I was feeling really inspired, and I was really energized. And so I obviously did this, then did Manifest Dive Deeper, then did Kid, and then someone tagged me being like, you're gonna fucking write one for your cats next. And I thought it was so funny. And I was like, I get it, guys, I'm done with Manifest books. I've got nothing else to say on the matter. For me personally, knowing the vision of the book is how I started creating it. So I actually came up with a title straight away. I then decided what colour I wanted it to be. But for me, it's all part of that, building what I can visualise, what is this book that I'm creating and going to commit so much mental energy to. We created the cover, and then Penguin rejected it, and they were like, we're not having an orange cover. And so I just fought tooth and nail to get the cover, and I'm so glad. But for me, self-development is cool. It's cool to care about yourself. It's cool to be interested in healing and growing and evolving. And I wanted people to feel proud of it. I didn't want them to have a self-help book and then hide it away. I wanted it to be a discussion point. If you saw that book in the corner of someone's handbag, you would know what it was and you could start a conversation about it. I really love that idea. So now the book is still coming out in different countries at different times, and so we get different requests from all. I think it's now in 39 countries. The orange one, but then the blue one is coming out in some, so it's really we're just trying to keep up. I just feel Sweden will be so cool. I've never been, so we're going to go. We're doing a few bits. We're doing something with Vogue Scandinavia out there. We're doing a podcast, 2 interviews and an event. So we'll just do 2 nights, taking the team. Okay, this is so uncurated because I genuinely didn't think we'd be looking inside my handbag. So it's a fucking mess. A mantra card. This gets all the pictures on my phone directly. So after every event, every shoot, this is in my phone, and then on the way home, I can go through all the content. SNTE hair wax, it's £8. Honestly, it's for the static hair. It's so good, but stunning. Oh my God, look at that in the light. Vive? Love this brand. Cork Mac lip liner, and then the Vive 90s. That is my lip combo. The last minute I changed to this rust sofa, which is very in keeping with the Manifest orange. I absolutely love it. It's from Pure White Lines, so is the black leather chair. This is actually my coffee table from home, so I'm now coffee table-less, but it looks so much better here. The rug is Nordic Knots, who do the best rugs. That plinth is from Rachel Donovan, who's Australian. This is from Swoon, this sideboard. This is Soho Home, which I absolutely love. I am wearing Cult Naked trousers. I don't know where the t-shirt is from, somewhere on Net-a-Porter, and this is Noor Hamor, which I'm obsessed with all their jackets. And my earrings are Heaven Mayhem.
So Roxie's audience is definitely global, to be honest. We see tags from the book all over the world every day. It's really cute, you see people going on their holidays, reading it, wherever they are. It's really nice to see.
The live shows are always definitely the best because you get to kind of see the audience and you get to see the impact. There's tears, there's laughter, there's all of that, so you kind of get to see the direct impact on what you're doing every day. So
a second look.
Yeah.
So I've got this little 2-piece, a skirt top from Cham, Los Angeles, a really small boutique brand, by far boots. And then this jacket, which is the hardest working piece in my wardrobe. It's from My After Hours. I'm just obsessed with this jacket. She only has quite a small collection of things, but they're all really cool, the shoulder pad. I'm obsessed with this ring. This is called an intention ring. It's by Rock and Raw, who they do the most high quality crystals. It's an intention ring, so the idea is that every time I look at it, I'm reminded of my intention and my purpose, which for me is to empower other people.
Where this insane career has come from.
Yeah.
How did it start?
It all started, I guess, when I was pregnant with Wolf. It's really interesting because I think, I didn't have a career before I had Wolf. I feel like every good thing in my life happened after he was born. So we've kind of grown together because I feel like I've just started my life in so many ways. I never knew happiness or joy or confidence or any of these things. And so looking at Wolf and seeing him at the ages where maybe certain things happened to me, you just think, oh my God, I didn't fucking stand a chance of being happy or confident. And so it's a real honor to be able to parent differently and do things differently now.
and seeing how positive his mindset is really special. It's like the thing I'm most proud of. I saw these Agony Aunt Sundays, and I don't really know, looking back, I'm like, I don't know what possessed me to do it. And I really feel like it was a gift from the universe, because when I was then pregnant and I went through the darkest depression I've ever been through, every Sunday I had this purpose, which was to give people advice. And I've always loved like helping other people and, you know, sharing advice and stuff. Imagine that like I had to suddenly give up cocaine, alcohol, cigarettes when I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
And so 28 years of pain basically came flooding through. And I would say that pregnancy was honestly quite traumatic. Like every day was a real struggle to be alive. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. It was like the darkest time of my life. What I really loved was these like inspirational speakers. That was what was really inspiring me, and I was like, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to inspire people. I want to use my own pain to help others. And as I go on this journey of like healing, I want to bring other people on it with me. On my mum's birthday, I was going to host my first workshop, which was self-love. Put it on my Instagram. And anyway, 100 people signed up, and I couldn't believe it, but it was all because I had been doing this Agony Aunt Sunday every week for now like over a year. And I truly believe that people just connect through vulnerability. Like it's so essential, and it's been such a key ingredient to my own growth and the way that I've been able to connect with people, you know, and have an audience. February 2023, I did 2,000 people at Alexandra Palace over 2 days. Like, and that was like a real pinch me, like, wow. But it all began from workshops. I really wanted to be a key figure in the wellness industry, and I wanted to inspire people and use my voice to help people. And manifesting gives you hope. Like, that's what it does. It makes you feel like, oh my God, I have the power to change my life, and it takes you out of that victim mentality. Like, if you are brave enough to show up as yourself, you will attract people to you that need what you are offering. Okay, we're on our way to record a podcast with Abby. I'm so excited. I'm obsessed with the therapy crowd, obsessed with her. I think she's so good, such good vibes. And yeah, I can't wait.
I'm dressed today. Oh, how are you? So nice to meet you.
Good, sorry, I'm stuck in a sleep.
Oh, wow, I love it.
We've only just moved in here, so we're a bit of a...
Okay.
You know, how to start your own business, how to pick yourself up from rock bottom, how to become a chef, how to get into the music industry.
So anything?
Anything.
I love her.
Anything. It's,
inspire and educate.
Yeah. I wanted Roxie on the pod because I think she's got an incredible story. She's very inspirational, and I think our listeners can learn a lot from her. You know, I wanted to convince me today on the whole manifesting thing because I find it hard to do. She's gorgeous, so we're going to have a lovely chat.
I know, lush.
This is an incredible idea.
Oh, thank you.
Just like getting in young, but like thinking in the right way and being positive and high self-esteem. Because we're all kind of damaged at this stage.
Yeah,
you know, and we're starting now on like a self-healing journey. But if you can start with the kids doing it young, I think it. You know, I'm all for positive praise in my house with my kids, and I want them to be confident. So if they you know, got something like this to help, I think it's mega. The shoes that you cannot wear.
I just bought them.
You can't wear them.
I can't fucking walk in them.
No, they kill.
The bag?
Everything
I'm
about
considering
them.
sending them back because I haven't worn them out
You
yet.
can't wear them. But they're gorgeous.
So where are they from, Abby?
Beauty is pain. Saint Laurent.
Amazing. And the rest of the fit?
And this is a 10.
Joey.
Oh God. Yeah, it's a New York designer. I should know.
Manchester Square.
Yeah. There's a Joe and the Juice on the corner.
Yeah, if I go up past her,
The pod was great. It was great. Abby was amazing. She's so lovely. And yeah, it was fun. First get a Joe and the Juice. I'm absolutely starving. We'll go straight to this hotel for this panel I'm on tonight for the boat tree.
What's your go-to Joe and the Juice order?
Go-to Joe and the Juice Chicken Club, gluten-free. I had too many spicy tunas. I think for a year I ate them like 4 times a week, and now I can never see a spicy tuna again.
I've only had 2, so I'm settled it.
2 ever?
Yeah.
Oh my God, where have you
Early
been?
days.
Oh, you're still in the honeymoon period. Yeah, see, I've passed that. Now I'm like in a 5-year relationship. I'm over it. We are actually going to start a podcast. I have a broadcast community who are like on Instagram, and I put like, be honest with me. Are there enough podcasts out there? Do you think it would be worth me doing it? I had a really lovely response of just like, yeah, we'd love you to. So I was like, okay, fuck it. Okay, yay, Jen just messaged me. 14th of September is ours for the Albert Hall in Manchester. I'm so pleased. Finally, we got it. Oh, great. Which is really fun because we do one Saturday in Manchester and the next Saturday in Dublin. My favourite place is this little Mexican called Taqueria on Westbourne Grove. And then actually also on Westbourne Grove is Wild. Best steak and chips. And I'm obsessed with peppercorn sauce. I always order extra sauce and it is phenomenal. It's a really good little find. Actually, probably my best pair of jeans I've ever found. I got a discount on them, otherwise I probably would have thought they were too expensive, but they're these Magda ones, and they're like dark blue and they're quite loose, and they're really, so like, they're just really comfy,
but high-waisted,
yeah. I love them. Adenola, I have to say, I love Adenola. I think it's so well priced. I think the quality is amazing. Just love. Pajamas. I really like the White Company. Thank you. Okay, so we're off to our final event of the day, going to poetry panel. My favourite part of the job is public speaking. Anytime I'm doing a panel, an event, a workshop, I like it. I love it so much. And I know lots of people don't love public speaking, but yeah, I love it. I don't know, I just find it so invigorating. I think also when you have your own business, you know, live and breathe it. I'm always thinking about it. And I'm doing a job which I think is like helping other people and being of service. So it's very, very rewarding.
In Paris, just like literally randomly bumped into her and ended up spending the whole afternoon with her.
I love that.
Final outfit change. Can you tell us what you're wearing?
Okay, this jacket is Mugler from Louisa Via Roma. Love their site, they've got the best stuff. These are Lizette, which I got from Net-a-Porter, and the shoes are Zara. I think Zara do the best shoes.
So Roxie's doing a panel for International Women's Day with some other speakers as well. So there's 5 speakers in total. We also need to capture a video for Grazia in the Middle East.
Hi Grazia Middle East, it's Roxie Nafousi, and happy International Women's Day.
I'm standing. Yeah, do a little candid moment. I'm just gonna
just met you. So casual. Okay, Sheila, thank you so much for spending the day with me. People are starting to arrive, so I'm going to go down and do my panel. But I will see you soon. Hi, I'm Roxie Nafousi. I'm a self-development coach and manifesting expert, and author of a book called Manifest: 7 Steps to Living Your Best Life.
And when I was asked to be on the panel and I found out Roxie was on it, I was like, oh, I must have manifested this.
My mission really is to try and help empower women, to inspire them to see the light within them, and to give people permission to shine and take space and create the life that they really deserve.
I love her honesty, right? Love that. Okay. Queen of manifesting, do you have any toolkits for manifesting, achieving what you want to achieve?
I mean, I wish I could be as creative as that. I'm an Excel spreadsheet girly. I think it's
so gel.
Oh, like I literally love it. I worked in like corporate for a long time.
Did you?
Yeah, accounting is my background. You know, consulting, and I love a spreadsheet. And I think I can process things in like lines and numbers and formulas, and it makes sense to me to even look at creative ideas in a formulaic way. So like I can add up how many video ideas are in a certain category or in another category by seeing it in a spreadsheet and then labeling it and then color coding it and then formatting it and putting them into groups. That's how I kind of visualize life, very much in these groups and numbers, and it just makes me feel like I know what's going on, kind of like I'm in control. But I know not everybody works in that way, because some people are much more, I don't know what the word is, I don't want to say fluffy, but they go with the flow, they see how it feels, they might manifest and meditate. I'm like, nope, give me a laptop, give me a spreadsheet, give me a notebook on the side, and that's the way that I usually try and process everything. A lot of the times when people maybe talk at me, I'm like, I can't hear this, I actually can't hear this, I can't take it in. Write it in like a bullet point list, and then I can address it.
I am not the opposite because it's not fluffy, it's still focused, but if someone gives me a spreadsheet, and I'm working on this, it's not my visual language, but if you give me words, mood board, talking or written, I like to write things with my hand, they go into my head better. It's so interesting, isn't it? And you just get to know how your brain works and your team members and what might be. I work with an incredibly talented woman at Charlotte, England, who is a spreadsheet guru. She's like, there's a lingo. I'm like, okay, more formulas, fine. But it's brilliant to have that balance because
you
want
can put
the
a
different
mood board in a spreadsheet as well. Like I have images like within that as well. I love putting images within a spreadsheet.
Oh my God.
I've always admired your ability with numbers. It's like, seriously, always admired her for that.
Good for you.
Though,
but isn't it brilliant that everyone is all different? It makes it all click together and keep moving. Emily, have you got any?
I don't really meditate and manifest. That's not that's not my language necessarily. But I think having bigger goals is great, and I think you've got to know sort of where you're going, and that's important, but I tend to try and make them feel smaller for myself in terms of achieving them. So I think part of the issue with goal setting is a lot of people create a goal that's very far away, and so not only are you delaying the time in which you achieve success, but you also have something sort of hanging over you. So if you're on a sort of health journey and you want to lose 10 kilos, sort of lose 1, why wait till you've put yourself through that to sort of enjoy any sort of success? And I think it's the same with business. If you want to make £1 million, make 100 first. And I think what I've found with some of the softer business techniques perhaps is that they're very focused on what you want to achieve, but perhaps less focused on the systems and processes in order to be able to get you there. So for me, it's that. And then I would also say just definitions, really important to me. What is your personal definition of success or balance or financial freedom? I think we borrow other people's definitions all the time. And, if your definition of success is IPOing a company for over $1 billion and mine is buying a house for £1 million and living the life I want to live, if I use your definition, I'm always going to feel like I'm falling short. So I think connecting with what it is that you personally feel defines that for you is something I've done a lot of.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's so subjective. My dad always taught me that. There's something I remember since I was a kid, is that might be success to them, but yours might be like, you 2 kids and you're thrilled and that's amazing. Yeah. You're in the countryside, wherever you want to be.
Yeah.
Okay, Sharma, we need to just pick up this tome.
I can't reach my shirt, it's too tight.
Congrats. Tell us about it and tell us a couple of your toolkit tips.
So the whole book is essentially my personal toolkit. I wrote this because I was feeling like my definition of success was warped. I was having anxiety attacks. I was always stressed. I felt like my life wasn't my own, that I was on this kind of roller coaster and I didn't really know where I was going. So there's 49 methods in here in 5 different sections, and each method is an essay of a personal experiment that I ran on myself over the last decade in order to take back control. So it was how do I feel powerful in my own self without it being dominion over others? How do I feel that I have my independence and autonomy? So yeah, holding a clear vision for your future is actually one of the methods. It's part of a section of 3 called your Big Woman Energy Protocol. And it is, understand what your personal vision, mission, principles are, have a clear vision for your future, which is a vision setting exercise. And the final one is the guide to working with me that I mentioned earlier. So yeah, the book is really for women who felt like they did all the things they were told they ought to do. They got the job, they got the cute outfits, they got the partner, but there's still an element of dissatisfaction, and they might not know what that dissatisfaction is. And to me, it's really because we're trying to do this in a patriarchal system. We're trying to exist in a system that wasn't designed for us. So, when we talk about work-life balance, I've got a son, I co-parent 50-50 and always have from when he was 9 months old. And, you know, that people found that really odd to begin with, women and men. Women would be like, but why are you not with your baby for half the week? As if I would be a terrible mother for not having him. And it was painful. It's hard. Anyone who's had a baby knows that on day one, you're like, I can lie in. On day two, you're like, where's my baby? And then on day three, you're like, I've lost an arm. But I knew how important it was in order for me to do my important work, the work that I wanted to do, but also in order for him to have this bond with his father, which is a bond I didn't have, which, you know, I talk in the book, New Method 5, it's Label Your Trauma. So much of my desire for ambition and success really comes from, you know, not knowing my father, trying to get this invisible pat on the head from old men with money, you know, and it drove me in an unhealthy way. So then why would I want to pass that on to my child? So the book is an amalgamation of skills that you call soft skills, which are really important, such as, you know, learn how to listen to your intuition, learn how to be in touch with what you actually want. And then also the book has skills such as how to negotiate, compound interest, things that help you build a strong financial future and economic independence that allows you to do the things you want to do. And my preoccupation is really to give women a role model and permission to have the choice, make choices for themselves. Just, you know, when people say, oh, you know, what career should I go into? I'll be like, well, what do you want? What do you like? And then you'd be surprised how many women have never considered themselves. They've never said, what is it that I actually want? You know? And that's what it is. So I wrote them between the age of 28 and 38. And then I woke up on my 39th birthday, and for the first time I just felt very loved and content. And I was like, it's work, ready to publish now.
You are the product of the book, right? You said earlier it healed you, which is incredible.
As a process, I think anyone who journals or writes, you know how important journaling is for mental health and for working through the things that are going on in your mind. Even if you don't do it regularly, even if you just having a stressful day and you get your phone out and you write in the notes in your app, it feels better. But it's not just journaling, it is self-experimentation. So there's an urge to do the work that is in the book, because otherwise, I mean, the worst that you can do to yourself is know the information and not act on it. That's self-abuse.
Well, congratulations. That's out this week. Is that right?
June the 27th.
Okay, a couple more weeks. And Emily, yours is out in November.
No, not till November.
Okay, quick fire round. Best or worst piece of career advice you've ever been given? Patricia.
Do you know what advice I don't like? It's follow your passion. That is like, it's, you know, used quite a lot. And I think it's actually not the most valuable. I like the principle of, like, I think it's called Ikagi, where you look at these different aspects, and that really helps you work out where you are best suited. My passion would be sitting at home watching Netflix and eating. That's what I would love to be paid to do. Wouldn't be the best thing for me, though. So I think it's looking at your skills, your interest, and also what the world needs, as where you can look at where you can find yourself in a career or something you want to pursue. But passion is not a good enough motivator.
Yeah. If I ever see passion for fashion again.
Oh my gosh, passion for fashion is the worst.
Yes, I love it. Straight in the bin. I think a saying that I use is, if the wind will not serve, take to the oars. Because I think so often you can have momentum and it feels great and you're in a flow, and then when it starts to slow down, it can be quite confusing, and you can get quite addicted to sort of the speed and pace in which you're going. So it's the awareness of that we all have tools in order that we can kind of move things forwards. Worst piece. I think actually a lot of people told me when I was younger to try and make my business run without me. And I think that I found that quite confusing, because I thought that my business, me being present in it and sort of working in it was actually a huge part of the reason that it was moving in the direction I wanted to. But I think there's this attitude of, you know, create something and then sort of step away and it can run without you. And that, I think that was bad advice, specifically in a kind of agency model.
So interesting. My career advice would be your 20s are for data collection. Have as much fun as possible. Do as many different things as possible. See what works. But really, I always think whatever you are doing between the ages of 12 and 15 is probably your calling.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, I really believe that.
Okay.
What were you doing?
That.
Reading loads of magazines, watching MTV, watching Oprah, you know, designing my homework on Microsoft Word 97, and I do all those things now.
Yeah.
I love that. That's really interesting. Thank you all so much for being here today. Really, it was an amazing sofa chat. I learnt a lot. And to Roxie, of course, too. Next week, Charlotte Collins is back with more fabulous guests and content. In the meantime, we would love it if you could comment below, give us a thumbs up, and do subscribe if you haven't yet. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Bye.